The India Alliance parties met in Delhi today for the first coordination committee meeting. They issued a joint statement in which they proposed that their first joint rally be held in Bhopal in the first week of October. They will not join issue with the BJP on this entire debate around Sanatan Dharm. And they've also decided to leave the whole tricky business of seat sharing for later. On ground, will the arithmetic of this alliance add up? Or will it possibly be a match for the Prime Minister and the BJP's chemistry? Because oftentimes in Indian elections, chemistry trumps arithmetic. But first, the story of what happened when the India Alliance Coordination Committee met today in Delhi.
हरियाणा का सवाल है, कांग्रेस स्वयं में सक्षम है, 10 की 10 की कांग्रेस लड़ेगी।
तो हरियाणा में संगठन बना रहे, एक एक गांव में संगठन बना रहे, सर्कल लेवल तक हमारी संगठन बन चुकी है। एक एक गांव में हमारी सारी कमेटी कंप्लीट हो जाएगी और कमेटी कंप्लीट होते ही फिर हम कैंपेन शुरू कर देंगे।
மென்மையாகத்தான் சொன்னார், மலேரியா போல டெங்கு போல ஒழிக்க வேண்டும் என்று. மலேரியாவுக்கும் டெங்குக்கும் சோசியல் ஸ்டிக்மா இல்ல, அது ஒரு அருவருப்பா சமூகம் பார்க்காது।
मैं खुद सनातन धर्म से आता हूं और जो बयान आ रहे हैं सनातन धर्म के विरुद्ध, मैं उसकी निंदा करता हूं, घोर निंदा करता हूं।
The committee decided to hold joint public meetings in different parts of the country. The first public meeting will be held at Bhopal in the first week of October in the issue of rising prices, unemployment and corruption of BJP government.
चोला बदलने से कुछ नहीं होगा, चोला बदलने से, नाम बदलने से कुछ नहीं होगा। चाल, चरित्र और चेहरे वही रहने वाले हैं।
All right, the first big and proximate issue that the India Alliance has to confront with and has to come to some kind of a unison on is this whole business of the Sanatan Dharm debate. It was started by one of their alliance partners, the DMK scion, Udayanidhi Stalin. Let's bring you the sort of split in the alliance itself on this issue of Sanatan Dharm, not least because the BJP is, of course, making a huge issue out of it. So here's what Udayanidhi Stalin said. He said that Sanatan Dharm is like malaria and dengue. It can't just be cured, it has to be eradicated. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee taking a very nuanced position, saying that all religions should be respected and you should not speak in disrespectful terms about any religion. A. Raja, the DMK Member of Parliament, went one step further from Udayanidhi and he compared it to HIV and to leprosy, saying Sanatan is as disgusting as those diseases. Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi Chief Minister, has said that insulting any religion is wrong. Now, if you were to go further, again, A. Raja, this is a soundbite from a year ago, which the BJP has managed to find clippings of, and they're circulating this amongst their followers, saying that Hinduism is the biggest menace to India and to the globe. Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray faction has said that the DMK statements, and leader after leader of the DMK has been saying this, the DMK statements reek of ignorance. Furthermore, you have someone like a Karti Chidambaram, who's from the Congress party, Congress MP from Sivagangai, who's back to Udayanidhi and said that Sanatan is simply a code for the caste curse or the caste menace. Whereas T.S. Singh, who's Deputy Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, Congress party, he says that Sanatan Dharm must be respected. So it's clear that there are divisions within the alliance. You have Priyank Kharge, son of the Congress president, minister in the Karnataka government, saying that Sanatan Dharm spreads division, that any religion that does not give dignity should not be respected. Also, K.C. Venugopal, one of the most powerful Congress leaders, saying that we believe in Sarv Dharm Samabhav. Now, this is clearly something that the India Alliance will have to contend with. This has become a huge talking point. It is there in the campaign narrative already in the run-up to 2024. But that's on the issue. what about on the question of numbers? Because I want to play out some numbers which are very critical to understand why in Indian elections 2 plus 2 does not necessarily add to 4. That arithmetic alone does not win you elections. You go back in 2014, 136 seats, excuse me, which had a 50% vote share for the BJP. So 136 candidates of the BJP won by more than 1 out of 2 votes. Out of those, in 26 of all 26 seats in Gujarat, there was more than 50% vote share. In 20 out of the 28 seats in Madhya Pradesh, more than 50% vote share. In 20 out of the 48 seats in Maharashtra, more than 50% vote share. In Rajasthan, it was 18. In Uttar Pradesh, it was 17. So, the point I'm trying to make, and if you go to the 2019 election, it's an even bigger jump. From 136, it goes up to 224. So, out of the 543 seats across India in the Lok Sabha, in 224 seats, almost half of those seats, the BJP and the winning candidate of the BJP had more than 50% vote share. This includes 40 seats out of 80, half the state, 40 seats out of 80 in Uttar Pradesh, all 26 seats in Gujarat, 25 out of 28 in Madhya Pradesh, 23 out of 25 in Rajasthan, and 22 out of 28 in the state of Karnataka. Now, if you were to break this down as to why the India Alliance, and mind you, their strategy rests on how and if they will be able to find 400, at least 400 joint candidates. There will be one single India Alliance candidate taking on a BJP candidate. Now, how and why is it easier said than done? In Uttar Pradesh, for example, the Samajwadi Party, the Congress, the RLD Alliance, it was unsuccessful in the previous state elections. And one of the reasons is the Samajwadi Party, of course, is naturally the biggest party in the opposition in Uttar Pradesh. The SP feels that the Congress does not need to be given more than 2 seats, Amethi and Raebareli. The Congress, of course, is aiming for as many seats as it can contest from in Uttar Pradesh because it is the biggest state. It has 80 seats. Now, in Bihar, again, similar problem. The RJD is the biggest party as far as the opposition is concerned. It does not completely align. Its vote banks, which is Muslim and Yadav, does not completely align with its alliance partners, the JDU and the Congress. In fact, the JDU and the Congress were the 3rd and 4th in the last assembly elections. The RJD, of course, will be reluctant to cede any Lok Sabha seats to its allies. West Bengal, it's even more complicated because you have the TMC, you have the left, and you have the Congress party. And TMC and left have been arch enemies for a number of years now. The Congress and TMC too, of late, particularly if you look at the statements of Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and the responses from Mamata Banerjee and her ministers, very, very acerbic. And then backing the TMC could actually harm the credibility of both the left and the Congress in Bengal. And if you look at the recent Panchayat elections, for example, where the TMC saw some losses, those losses were gains for both the left and the Congress. So how will they explain this to their cadres, to their voters, that no, we have to put aside our differences and come together in an alliance? And then, of course, in Punjab and in Delhi, where the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress are the main contenders in the respective states' politics. The Congress in Punjab, for example, has accused the Aam Aadmi Party government of harassing its leaders and putting some of them in jail. Backing the Aam Aadmi Party for the Congress, both in Delhi and in Punjab, would diminish its ability to call itself the principal opposition party in either of these 2 states. In Kerala, again, very, very entrenched positions between the LDF and the UDF. It is almost impossible to imagine, and that too in a state where the BJP is still a marginal player, it's almost impossible to imagine that the LDF and the UDF would split the 20 seats of Kerala and contest 10 each. Because why would they give up the opportunity of maximizing from a state where both alliances feel they will get maximum results in? So, these are the contradictions, or these are the challenges, let's say, that the India Alliance has to overcome. But like I said, the first, most proximate, most immediate challenge is to find one cohesive, one united sort of messaging when it comes to this whole debate around the Sanatan Dharma. Let me go across to Shazi Almi, spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Shama Mohammed is national spokesperson of the Congress Party, Ghanshyam Tiwari is national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, and Rahul Shivshankar is consulting editor with CNN News 18. Dr. Shama Mohammed, I want you to outline what your party's position is very clearly to the viewers who are watching tonight on this entire Sanatan Dharm debate, because clearly the Congress party and its stand seems to be very, very different from your alliance partner in Tamil Nadu, which is the DMK. So please tell our viewers, what is your position on the debate started by Udayanidhi Stalin, where he says that Sanatan Dharm must be eradicated?
See, I just would like to, first and foremost, my deepest condolences to the Major, Colonel and the DSP who have been martyred in Jammu and Kashmir. I think it's a terrible, terrible day for us. On the question which you asked, Congress party has been always clear. It stands with everybody. We respect Hinduism, Sikhism, Christianity, Islam, Jainism, Buddhism. All religions, we have huge respect, and Hinduism is one of the oldest religions of this country, and we respect it very much. Nothing about it, you know, every religion has its pros and cons, but we respect every religion that way. So there is no two ways about it. And Hinduism is a lot of part of India, the culture and all are apart from where Hinduism comes from. So there is definitely huge respect for Hinduism, and that is the Congress party's stand on it. And let me make it clear today, once and for all, there is no change in that from us.
So why then is your alliance partner, the DMK, doubling down on its position? It's one thing if Udayanidhi said what he said and it got misconstrued, or he apologized for what he said, but it's not just him. Leader after leader of the DMK and some Congress leaders also from Tamil Nadu are backing him, and they're doubling down on that position.
I think what I've understood, it's about the caste system in Hinduism, which has been spoken about. As you know, there is a caste system in Hinduism, and I suppose Tamil Nadu has faced it much more than many other states. Being from Kerala, what I've seen is, because we have had Sri Narayana Guru, Ayankali, they have changed. They brought about a huge social reform in Kerala, Ayankali and Sri Narayana Guru. So I myself and many others in Kerala would not know who's a Dalit, who is a scheduled caste, who is a scheduled tribe by their names. We do not know. But of course, we know who is a Nair or a Nambiar or a Muslim or a Christian. So basically, the caste system as such does not exist from a state like mine in Kerala. So I suppose they were meaning that. And I think we should just pass, you know, we should not keep on discussing that. I think
Shazia Elmi, the charge against the BJP is you are wanting to keep this issue alive because you believe that you've now got a handle to take on this India alliance. The India alliance is saying that this is not the issue on which 2024 is going to get decided. People are going to vote on bread and butter issues, whether they have jobs, whether price rise is biting into their wallets. These are the issues that the government should be talking about. In fact, the government is so afraid of the India alliance, they're even contemplating renaming the country from India to Bharat. This is the charge from the Congress and the rest of the India alliance. Please respond.
Thank you, Zaka, for inviting me. Good evening to everybody who's present there, all your panelists, and as well as all the viewers. First of all, I'd like to say that it was not the BJP which prompted Udayanidhi Stalin to make the statement that he did. It was not the BJP either which prompted Udayanidhi to repeat his statement and reiterate and reaffirm his belief that Sanatan Dharma should be eradicated. It is also not the BJP which prompted other leaders of DMK to go along with it and to participate in this anti-Sanatan outcry that seems to have become like a war cry for INDIA. Clearly, if this is INDIA and this is a vehicle based on, I will not even talk about it being run on anti-Modi fuel, but is this the baggage that INDIA partners will have to carry all throughout for it to succeed? And can it even succeed? Can it even go and trundle and trudge along even a little bit with this kind of baggage and differences of ideas? And that Congress, and we just heard Shama ji talk about that, oh yeah, Congress just doesn't agree with the caste system, but rest of it is against. The attack was on Sanatan Dharma. And that is pretty much the position of DMK. And they have not gone back on it whatsoever. There have been many statements, like from Mamata Banerjee and some Congress leaders, denouncing that and distancing. But how do you expect this vehicle, NDA vehicle, to even move forward, even a step with such major differences. This is a big one, and we can see what is happening there. The roadblocks already. I'm not even talking about seat sharing. I'm not even talking about Article 370 and where they stand vis-a-vis that. I will not even go into what their position on Veer Savarkar is, which could be brought up with Sharad Pawar and others. But I'm just talking about this very basic thing. This it's not even an elephant in the room. It's like a herd of elephants, you know.
No,
and
which is why I said this issue, this issue is front and center. It's the most proximate one, and clearly the India Alliance needs to take a more unified position on it. And if they want to condemn the DMK, go ahead and do that. But the DMK is not backing off. That's the point I made to Shama Mohammed. But let me ask Rahul Shivshankar this. You know, some say that elections, certainly in the past, were decided on bread and butter issues, jobs, price rise, etc. But increasingly, we're also seeing elections, Rahul, being decided on emotional issues. You take 2019, for example. I think Pulwama and India's response to Pulwama was a critical factor for the BJP, and it worked for the BJP. Do you see this issue, this whole debate around Sanatan Dharma, having the potential, in a way, not just splitting the India Alliance, but boomeranging on it?
Well, thanks for having me on, Zaka. This is just the latest instance of the alliance tying itself up in knots. And if you just give me 2.5 minutes of uninterrupted time, I'll tell you why this will happen more and more often on other issues also. I've jotted down some points that will test the India coalition on 2 tracks. Number 1, the credibility of its message, and number 2, as you referred to, the accuracy of its math. First, the message. And let's first look at our screens and look at the pictures. What a lovely sight it is to see India Alliance heavyweights assembled under one roof. Each represents a distinct part of the country. Each represents voters that speak different languages and voice different concerns. What a fine example of India's diversity. I'm sure you'd agree. Also, how lucky we are to have opposition leaders speaking so freely and fearlessly. These battle-hardened commissars are lustily predicting that they will defeat Modi. This is no Darahua opposition, cowering under the glare of an alleged dictator in a thought-to-be-dead democracy. But rather, their confident baiting of Modi and predicting his defeat shatters 2 myths at once. First, that despite their claims, no major democratic institution, least of all the Election Commission that conducts elections, or the court that is called into scrutinizing the verdict if it is challenged, are compromised. This is what they've been saying. The EC, the courts, all compromised, etc. If they were the opposition, they wouldn't be confidently predicting their own victory had this been the case. Second, the constant barrage of hate and abuse, that too in public, directed at Modi proves he isn't a ruthless dictator, as they claim he is. So, Zaka, today the opposition is undermining its own poll plank, and their number one reason to come together. In their words, they say this is to rescue Indian democracy that is in the ICU thanks to Modi. Clearly, Zaka, it isn't democracy that needs to be saved. It's perhaps the voter that needs to be rescued from the ICU, crushed as he is by the weight of the opposition's contradictory claims. The Sanatan Dharma issue is just another contradiction. But wait, there's more contradiction, let me tell you. The opposition says that the other reason they're uniting is because they need to Jodo Bharat, bring it together. Bharat, they say, is divided because Modi is pitting Hindus versus Muslims, so he can birth a Hindu Rashtra, for example. This message is also based on a profound heresy, and let me tell you why. If minorities were so disaffected, would minority voters have voted for BJP's Tafajjal Hussain from the Bakshanagar seat in Tripura, which has a 66% Muslim population? Would, for instance, the modern-day daykeepers of Mecca, the Saudi royal family, be legitimizing Modi, joining him in a trade alliance? No, they won't. Given that the India Alliance message is tenuous, it will hop from one issue to another in the hope that something sticks miraculously. Attacking Sanatan Dharma was just one such opportunistic attempt. It's nothing more. Now let me come to the accuracy of its maths. Here I'll only go by the numbers, and you've sort of referred to some of them. The opposition is banking on maths, as it says. It thinks that by merely unifying behind one candidate per seat, it can prevent anti-incumbency votes from splitting and defeat the BJP. But let's test this. In 2014, the BJP won 190. let me actually take the stakes up. 190 of the 225 of the seats in the Hindi belt, 85% strike rate with a vote share of 46% plus. In the winning seats alone, 46% plus. In 2019, the BJP improved its performance in every 3 out of 4 seats. It won, its vote share was 50% plus. In other words, it had more votes than the opposition and the Nota votes combined. Now that's a huge margin to be ahead. And don't forget, in Uttar Pradesh, the opposition, BSP and SP, even fielded joint candidates.
Yeah.
But to no avail. Despite the tall ask, the opposition points to their victory in the 1977 elections over the Congress when they banded together to save democracy, shouting, Indira Hatao, Desh Bachao. But the opposition forgets that only 2 of the Congress's 154 MPs in 1977 were from the Hindi belt in that election. That's not going to change in this one. So even the maths is contradicting its own stratagem.
So,
and of course, there was no democracy under emergency, and the public did not have to be convinced of the message.
On both
Today,
of those issues,
all of that is not true.
On both of those issues, Ghanshyam Tiwari respond. One, this whole idea that the India Alliance is saying that democracy is dead and that Modi has divided the country, Muslims are feeling like second-class citizens. Please explain, the point that Rahul Shivshankar was making. Why then have Muslims, let's say in the by-elections that just happened in Tripura, it's a Muslim majority constituency, more than 60% Muslim population. Why did they vote for the BJP's candidate? And secondly, on the math, and I think UP 2019 was a classic example where the SP and the BSP, the 2 biggest parties in Uttar Pradesh, joined hands. And yet what we saw was that the vote was not transferring between your 2 parties. In fact, the SP vote transferred to the BSP candidate much more than the BSP vote transferred to the SP candidate, which is why the BSP had 10 MPs and you have 5. Ghanshyam.
Good evening, Zaka, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. 3 things are important. The mission of India Alliance is Judega India, Jeetega Bharat. The mission for Bharatiya Janata Party has been that Tootega India, Harega Bharat. The party that has systematically demoralized the poor to the extent that on the G20 summit, you had to put curtains around the poor and put pictures of Mr. Modi, who has been marketing his own poverty for last 10 years while making one nation, one businessman formula successful for one man to be the richest person in the world. So this reality sinks and demoralizes the poor in the country, and that is why Judega India, Jeetega Bharat. The second, about the various by-elections. We look at the Ghosi by-election. The scale of defeat of Bharatiya Janata Party that has multiple ministers sitting there, chief minister going and campaigning there, making all the tall claims. The scale of defeat that BJP faced in Jharkhand, the scale of defeat they have faced under Mr. Modi's leadership in Karnataka. You can look at one election in Tripura, but if you look at a national picture, at no agenda that connects the common man, BJP is truthful. It is, in fact, propagandist and is against the common man. Do they recognize unemployment is an issue? They don't. Do they recognize price rise as an issue? This is the party that has turned the price of cylinder that used to be between 500 and 600 rupees between 2015 and 2016 to 1200 rupees. And the day that they decrease it to 200 rupees, they start celebrating as Mr. Modi has gifted a developed India to the poor of the country. The issue of social harmony, sabka saath, sabka vikas, sabka vishwas. This is a party that sponsored, cheered and sent emissaries such that every day in India, the television debate on certain channels and broadly on social media will be Hindu-Muslim. Poisonous debates where lynching pictures will be put out, and in some way the minds of people will be sown with hatred.
But Ghanshyam, at least on this channel, on this show, you will admit that we don't do that, right? You've been on this show, you're a veteran on this show.
That's absolutely, but I'm saying that look at what has happened in 10 years. That channels like yours has to accept at least we don't do it. But the reality is what is happening across the country. Look at G20. Did opposition, the India Alliance, threaten G20? No. It was associations related to RSS, BJP that were threatening violence in Haryana, in the backdrop of G20, where the chief minister had to get involved. So the common man agenda is not hatred. Common man agenda is basic prosperity and success that BJP has defeated. My final point is that you tell me one single party that has unapologetically come under NDA alliance one single party. It's broadly a tukde gang, one tukda of Shiv Sena, cajoled here with various tactics, two tukdas of Paswanji's party, one tukda of NCP. This is not how you construct India. This is not democracy. Final point. We have a special session of parliament coming up where nobody knows the agenda. This is not the kind of democracy India is aspiring for in 21st century.
Okay.
We want an open democracy, a place which respects everybody and gives a chance for the poor to prosper rather than Mr. Modi to market his poverty
Shazia,
and cover
respond. Again, the opposition's charge, and I'm going to go across to that nearer wall, the Barco wall. The opposition's charge, and they are citing this latest example, a parliament session, a special parliament session has been called for between the 18th and the 23rd. They are saying no Business Advisory Council has met, no agenda has been chalked out, no one knows a thing. In fact, Jairam Ramesh tweeted this morning saying only one man knows. This, they are claiming, the opposition alliance, is evidence that, this is kuch bhi chalta hai.
Well, that is the charge of the opposition. So he might be not up to speed on that. But I think something is out there for everybody to know, whether it's a postal bill or the advocate bill, which I've just seen as a flash, which has just been spelled out as would be the agenda, for the parliamentary session. But going back to all the charges and the long speech about what he thinks INDI stands for, what he thinks BJP stands for, there is no clarity whatsoever. I can go point by point. Inflation, I can prove to you, 9 years of BJP rule, much better than 10 years of Congress. And what happened there? I can give you figures. I can rattle them off. They're there for everybody to see, and I want everybody to see. I can tell you the inflation was under control despite the global trend and what's been happening all over the world. If you were to compare inflation with any of the countries, G20 or otherwise, you will see that India has done the best. Yeah, last 3 months, because we saw how perishables goods suffered, there was rainfall and the destruction it caused, and so that will be controlled. But overall, the situation has been great. If you see India is the 5th largest economy. He mentioned G20, not I, and you just see the huge success of G20, which I must tell you happened. The meetings of which 200 meetings of which took place in 60 different cities, also in non-BJP states, when non-BJP governments are in power. And what that has done to local economy, tourism, different industries, cottage included. Now, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about a plan for the country. Let's go beyond the topics. Okay, I understand it's difficult for my friend Ghanshyam to answer on Sanatan and the big fallout and the difficulty that they're having to manage it. But I know it'll be difficult for all the questions you asked about UDF, LDF, and Punjab and Delhi, Aam Aadmi Party and Congress, and in Bengal, TMC and Congress, and of course various alliances in UP and what have you. Going beyond all of that, what does INDI stand for? What is the blueprint? When it comes to BJP, there is not one agenda. I mean, you want to play this match, play it. Whatever pitch you want to choose. Development, we're in. Foreign policy, we're in. Domestic inflation, we've done it. We've delivered. Central welfare schemes, we've done it. 13.5 crore of Indians out of poverty, we've done it. 50 crore people in the financial inclusion of India, we've delivered.
Okay.
And I can go on and on. So this is for everybody to see, as opposed to some nebulous, abstract idea
Shama Mohammed, the gist of what Shazia is trying to say is that it's very clear before the people of India what Mr. Modi and his government have done for the last 9 years. You may like it, you may not like it, but it's there. It's very, very apparent. It's in front of the people of India. And most exemplified by what we saw over the G20. You have a rising power. The whole world is wanting to court India. Mr. Modi is fully made use of that opportunity. You got a joint declaration, and people tend to forget. I mean, elections are also about chehra. Who is going to be that chehra? Even in 77, when Mrs. Gandhi was unseated from power, you had a Jayaprakash Narayan on the other side. In 89, when Rajiv Gandhi was ousted from power after getting the biggest parliamentary majority in the history of India, there was a VP Singh on the other side. Who is this person of the India alliance who is going to be that face against this towering figure called Modi? Is it Rahul Gandhi? Is it Mamata Banerjee? Is it Arvind Kejriwal? Who is it?
Zaka, I have been patiently listening to all of you all for the last 20 minutes, so you must give me my time. That's the most important. It's a request. Now, you asked about Chehra. We didn't have a Chehra in 2004. Let's understand that. That's the answer to it. There is no read as of now. Now, I want to, before I come to the question about what you asked me, I want to answer to Rahul Shivshankar. He said a couple of points and I need to reply. You also said about RJD, you said about Samajwadi will not give, TMC, there are issues. These are assumptions. We are doing it. We have issues. We are sorting it out. It's almost sorted right now. Seat sharing will be announced in the next meeting. That's what I know. Now, Rahul Shivshankar mentioned that they talk about EC being compromised. I want to ask Rahul Shivshankar, the Chief Justice was part of it. Why does the Modi government want to change the Chief Justice from selecting the EC Election Commission to a cabinet minister? Because they want to have a majority, because it will be the cabinet minister, the prime minister and leader of opposition. If there are no issues and they don't want to control, let the Chief Justice remain. Then he spoke about Tripura. It is after, I don't know when was the last time a Muslim candidate was there for the BJP. In Tripura, it was a Muslim candidate. Let's understand that. And that's why he won. Karnataka, the Bharatiya Janata Party clearly said, why did we win in Karnataka? One of the main reasons was consolidation of the Muslim vote. The Muslims normally vote half JDS and half to the Congress party. I personally know people who have come up from Abu Dhabi and Dubai who are JDS voters who came to vote for the Congress party to get rid of Bharatiya Janata Party from Karnataka. That is the other one. Then he spoke about the then he spoke about corruption. There is no such thing. It is all a clean rule. I want to ask him one question. The ED is questioning Abhishek Banerjee. Why has the ED stopped questioning Ajit Pawar? Who spoke against Ajit Pawar? It is the Deputy CM as of now. Devendra Fadnavis is the first person who said that there is 70,000 crore irrigation scam. He is the one behind it. We are going to arrest him. Kirit Somaiya, their former MP, went all out to put the blame on Ajit Pawar.
Okay.
1 month back in, let me finish. 1 month back in Madhya Pradesh, the Prime Minister of India said Ajit Pawar is corrupt. I want to know today, why has ED stopped the investigation? Unless and until because Ajit Pawar is an alliance partner in Maharashtra. So what we are saying is, if ED is questioning Abhishek Banerjee, let ED also question Ajit Pawar.
Okay.
Then, 1 second, let me finish.
I think you've made 3 points, right? Let him respond on all 3 points.
The economy, she was talking about the economy.
Okay.
During the UPA, the average GDP was 8.4 with the old system. Yours is 3.2. Let's understand that. The job unemployment in April this year by CMI is 8.2%. And right now, after a 15-month inflation of 7.2%, it's come down to 6.9% after 15 months. Let's understand that. So during our time, there was inflation. I do not disagree. But there was not unemployment of 8.3.
Okay, let Rahul Shivshankar respond on the 3 points that you asked. One, the independence of institutions like the Election Commission, the point that she made about the CJI being removed and replaced by a cabinet minister. 2, on the point of the Muslim candidate of the BJP in Tripura winning, and this is a party that couldn't find a single ticket to be given to they don't have a single member of parliament who is a Muslim. And the 3rd point, what was that, Shama? What is the 3rd point that you made?
About Ajit Pawar.
About corruption, yeah, that the BJP is not really white. They have their own corruption skeletons in the cupboard.
Also in Rajasthan,
let him respond. Let him respond. Please, please. Shama, please, yield. Let him respond, please. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Rahul.
Okay, Ms. Mohammed, first of all, I didn't even talk about corruption. I didn't talk about corruption, so you're attributing things that I haven't said to me. So let's first get that on the record. Just want to ask you on the second point. In Kerala, the BJP has given tickets to Christian candidates, in Goa to other minorities, in the Northeast to many more minorities, in Punjab. I don't understand where you're going with this argument by suggesting that, oh, because a Muslim was given a ticket, the BJP somehow won. Why would the Muslim community want to in any case associate themselves, as I was trying to suggest in my introduction, with the Bharatiya Janata Party if it was such a communal organization. The Bharatiya Janata Party has done arguably a lot more for Muslim women than the Congress could do even under the so-called secular-minded Rajiv Gandhi. Let me just finish my point. I'm addressing them since you raised them. And on the first point about institutional reform, I want to ask you, the Congress was in power for 10 years, for instance. Why didn't it think of a mechanism where it could bring on board members of the opposition? You were entrusted to reform the CBI. You didn't. You caged it. I'm not saying it. The Supreme Court said it. You had an entire Andolan. The reason we have Kejriwal today is because he rode on the back of an anti-corruption agitation. Today, and that was directed against your government, madam. And today, Arvind Kejriwal, who never forgets to remind the public of India how corrupt you were when you were in office, specifically in Delhi, is your alliance partner. You talk about communalism. Let's have a look at the person you single out for being the architect of a communal outlook, which is Veer Savarkar. You tied up in Maharashtra with a political party that recommended the Bharat Ratna for Veer Savarkar. So I don't understand where we are going with this conversation. I'm only trying to say to you, and I'm not saying that other parties are above opportunism. All political parties exhibit opportunism. Look at what the BJP did in Jammu and Kashmir by tying up with the PDP. Or when it does by pulling in, as you yourself have said, corrupt leaders from different political parties, including some that the ED itself tweeted about from the state of Maharashtra. So look, I am not here to suggest that the BJP is above board and the BJP is squeaky clean, etc., etc. You have to convince the voter why the voter must vote for you. You have to have an articulate, cogent, and perhaps less disingenuous reason to oppose the BJP. I was only looking at one plank, which was this huge hue and cry about the failing standards of Indian democracy. The same democracy that elects a Mamata Banerjee, that elects, several opposition leaders with sweeping majorities at the cost of the BJP. I fail to understand how Indian democracy is so weather-beaten and downbeat when it can throw up such surprising results, which reflect...
Okay, Shama, quick response, 30 seconds. I've got to give the final word to Ghanshyam. I need to wrap also. I need to go to the breaking news that's coming in.
In the G20,
very
the
quickly,
Americans
please.
wanted a press conference. India was not ready. A democracy always has press conferences. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh used to take journalists with him on his flight. He did a number of press conferences when he's a prime minister. He was a prime minister. Biden does it. No, he talked about Muslim women. Let me tell you one thing. I don't know what Modi has done for Muslim women, but the worst thing he does is bulldozes their houses. That is wrong. Their sons and husbands are lynched. That is wrong.
Was Dr. Manmohan Singh
his own prime minister?
All right. I'm pulling away. I got to go to Ghanshyam for the final word. Ghanshyam, I think the point that Rahul was trying to make as well, and I think this is something that the India Alliance has been having to battle with, is you cannot go to the people and hope to win by simply saying our only point of agenda is removing one man because he's been bad for India, he's been bad for democracy, he's been bad for the poor people. What are you offering? What is your message? People of India will vote for a party or an alternative if they find that alternative more compelling than the existing one.
So that's a great question. Let me speak to your viewers on this. That one, if you see today that people around you, your family, your friends, receive more messages against the community, more hateful messages, then we are in the wrong direction. And India Alliance is an alliance that aspires that your children will receive more messages about job and education opportunities rather than hateful messages propagated by an ecosystem of trolls. That's one. If you don't see a prime minister telling you the agenda of a parliament at a time when he himself has a poorest track record among other prime ministers of sitting in the parliament or of participating in debates or answering questions compared to other prime ministers, when his government faces the infamy that this 17th Lok Sabha has the least number of sittings since 1957, then we promise that India Alliance will ensure that there's more parliament sessions. The prime minister, whoever you elect, the people elect, will speak to the press, will not offer jumlas. If you see that your Prime Minister is on a mission to make one nation, one businessman a reality, and one man the richest person in the world, while you yourself suffer, unable to pay fees, unable to carry out your day-to-day expenses, we seek to provide a government that is going.
Yeah.
That is going to fight for you when you fight price rise. That is going to ensure that the government is not on a mission of one nation, one businessman, but rather to ensure that the bottom 40%, 60% who lost income the last 5-6 years, their income is upgraded.
All right. Shazia, I had one interjection and then I'm wrapping up.
Just a small interjection.
Yeah,
so I can't answer to all of that, considering this is a lot of subjective, visceral dislike, and this is Modi fear factor which brings them together. As is so obvious by whatever that my two worthy political opponents have just enunciated in many words in different ways, that all they have to offer to the people of this country is a whole lot of anger and vitriol that they can find in their hearts and amongst themselves.
All right. I got to move on.